12 Outstanding Characteristics of People Who Like to Be Alone. The world is constantly moving with bright lights and bustling sounds. Why do many people like to be alone and befriend loneliness? Do they have an insurmountable sadness within them? Connecting with society and community is a legitimate human need. The older you get, the greater your desire to build relationships. Worldview, belief, empathy are all products formed in our connection with the community. Therefore, in a societal bias, spending time alone is often associated with feelings of sadness and loneliness that can cause us to perish. However, there are people who spend all day with others and still feel lonely, while there are people who stay alone for months and still feel happy and fully enjoy life. Join Life Lessons channel to discover the secret of happiness behind people who like to spend time alone and the outstanding characteristics that make them who they are. Are people who like to be alone lonely souls? People who prefer to live alone are often described as isolated and disconnected or antisocial individuals. When mentioning them, many people immediately imagine a lifestyle of self-isolation, reclusiveness, all year round. Quietness is also said to be a consequence of events and psychological problems. In fact, being alone is an effective healing method that brings many benefits to physical and mental health if applied properly. It is no coincidence that many writers and musicians choose to retreat to an absolutely quiet space while creating their works. Therefore, loneliness is not always associated with sadness and negativity. Some people feel comfortable with private time to get away from daily stress and hustle and bustle. Actively be alone and love this state because then they can have space to face themselves, stimulate explosive ideas, think objectively, be calmer and more steadfast in the face of life's challenges. Life. When being alone is a choice, it is completely different from loneliness. Is being alone a bad thing? The answer depends on why the person wants to be alone. The need for social connection is inherently engraved in human consciousness. From ancient times to modern times, isolation has been a terrible punishment for many people. So, social withdrawal and rejection can signal worrying mental health conditions such as anxiety, depression or low self-esteem. On the other hand, living alone can be a wonderful experience as you accept yourself and learn how to find inner happiness. Science has proven that being alone is an essential skill in this modern world. Private space allows you to work more effectively, train your spirit to be strong and resilient, understand yourself better, plan your life more clearly. However, in any matter, balance is important. Degree is also an important factor. To keep being alone from turning into loneliness, you should ask yourself whether you are really comfortable with loneliness, why you want to be alone, and how long you need to be quiet. 5 Types of Lonely People. As communication through social networks becomes more popular, more people feel lonely. A study conducted in 2021 found that 31% of Americans between the ages of 16 and 74 consider themselves loners. However, the state of loneliness actually has many different variations. 1. Intentionally active lonely people. These are people who like to be alone because they feel better when they are in a private and quiet space. They actively seek solitude to improve their quality of life and mental health. 2. Lonely people have negative intentions. They stay away from people for negative reasons, such as feeling skeptical about some relationships, not being able to adapt to new environments. Characteristics. This approach may be related to antisocial personality disorder (APD). 3. Unintentional lonely people. They enjoy social interaction but lack the skills necessary to maintain long-term positive relationships with others. They feel rejected by society and fill their minds with negative thoughts. 4. Short-term lonely people. Sometimes, they want to be alone to calm their turbulent souls. They will disconnect from the world for a certain period of time to rebalance their lives and soothe their spirits when they feel exhausted. 5. Long-term loners. these individuals wish to join the excitement of the world but are isolated from society for long periods of time for many reasons. Whether active or passive. Being alone for too long can lead to negative effects on mental health. 12 characteristics of a person who likes to be alone. 1. They are introverts. Many people believe that introverts are weak in a bustling world. Contrary to this popular stereotype, their loneliness has immense strength. Moments alone are the ideal time for them to connect with themselves, concentrate, and let their creative minds flourish. Although extroverts tend to be more popular in modern society, introverts don't feel left out when alone, but rather enjoy the peace and quiet. Private moments help them recharge their energy after dates and socializing, and find balance in their simple lives. 2. They are independent people. Whether alone or with others, people who like privacy tend to complete work on their own and value personal experiences. High independence is also shown in the fact that they completely trust their own thinking and decisions. They are willing to listen to your comments with a sincere attitude but will not depend entirely on your comments. A sense of autonomy is also a factor that motivates them to work with high productivity without too many regulations. Because of the independent nature of people who like to be alone, they tend to work more effectively in environments where there are not many people around. 3. They do everything they like alone. The quietness of people who like to be alone is like a shield capable of protecting them from judgments and prejudices. They do what they like without worrying about what others will think. Sitting and reading a book all morning in a quiet room, going for a walk in the park without anyone accompanying you. Activities that can easily make others feel stuffy and bored are hobbies of people who like to spend time for yourself. They also don't mind having dinner or going to the movies with themselves and prefer to solve problems alone. From the perspective of many people around them, they are often mistakenly thought to be suffering from boring isolation. However, private space is where they can freely enjoy simple happiness. 4. They value time. People who like to be alone understand the value of time better than anyone else. They realize that they cannot waste time and know how to use this resource wisely. They prefer to stay at home or somewhere quiet to do things that are constructive for their lives, such as writing in a journal to increase self-awareness, learning new skills, or simply take time to relax. Besides valuing their own time, they also care about other people's time and won't keep you waiting for any appointment. 5. They are self-represent in everything. This is also a positive characteristic of people who like to be alone. They will choose to self-soothe rather than call a friend and talk about the problems that bother them. It's hard to know when they're grieving because they can control their emotions very well. Even though they spend most of their time alone in a quiet state, they always think positively to find ways to solve their problems. Thanks to that, they are not easily dependent on others. 6. They think deeply. The personality traits of people who like to be alone are that they like to observe things from afar, focus on listening and thinking about things going on around them thoroughly before speaking or acting. Because they are used to being alone, their views are less influenced by outside factors. The quietness of people who like to be alone is often strategic. As in a chess match, they are likely thinking carefully about their next moves. The space of solitude allows them to connect with themselves, knowing what aspects they need to develop themselves in to become the best version. 7. They are comfortable with close relationships. Quality over quantity best describes the relationship circle of people who love being alone. They are not afraid to meet and get to know many people but only focus on a few truly close relatives and friends. You won't often see them on dates or weekend afternoon tea. They feel comfortable and satisfied in their own space and only participate in meetings and fun activities when necessary, which can include important occasions such as someone's birthday party, wedding, or graduation ceremony. That in their circle, they are willing to attend parties to show love and support to their loved ones. When the fun ends, they return to their own safe zone. 8. They love themselves. Often misunderstood for being not vibrant, people who like to be alone are people who can understand the child inside them. Trust themselves and appreciate things that are not big but are extremely meaningful. That I can do. They have the ability to heal themselves emotionally, thereby accepting mistakes and reconciling with their regrets. The fact that they spend a lot of time focusing on themselves does not show that they are selfish or self-centered. Self-love is a sign of compassion, and people who love themselves are often open souls who empathize easily with others. 9. They avoid conflict. People who like to be alone are accustomed to peace, so they tend to avoid unnecessary gossip. They do not like to participate in discussions about others and find it a waste of time. Therefore, they are very careful in making friends. If someone becomes disrespectful or disregards their boundaries, they will firmly stay away from these relationships. 10. They have clear boundaries. They are aware that society at large is an indispensable part of human existence. They still like to be with friends and relatives, chat with colleagues or attend meetings with many people. However, they have personal boundaries that help protect themselves from people with toxic personality traits that can upset their tranquility. 11. Have high self-awareness. The state of loneliness creates space for them to organize their thoughts, emotions and reflect on themselves. Practicing self-awareness helps them become more aware of their inner self and the world around them. Thanks to that, they can make better choices. Honestly face the past, confidently look towards the future and live a truly happy life. 12. They can keep calm well. The ability to stay calm in many situations is a prominent characteristic of people who like to be alone. This capacity comes from the resilience they develop from being independent and self-reliant. They can manage and regulate their emotions when faced with failure or conflict. They are still stressed, overwhelmed or worried when something unfortunate happens suddenly, but instead of losing their composure, they will immediately think of the best ways to overcome the difficulty.
Life Lessons channel. Thank you for watching the video.